The third thing the amendment does is it says, as was decided last year by the governor and this body, that we're not going to create a state-run health care exchange under the Affordable Care Act. Now, you still have a federally run health care exchange that will continue to operate, and individuals will continue to enroll in that federally created exchange, and people will continue to buy policies from that federally created exchange, and that won't be affected at all by this amendment. But it does say that the state is not going to set up that exchange. And here's why that's important, Senator from Greenville, and I touched on this a little bit yesterday. The way the Affordable Care Act is worded is it says that the IRS can levy the tax or the penalty or whatever you want to call it to individuals and employers who don't comply with the mandate. They can only levy that tax or fee and take that money from citizens and businesses and put it into an exchange and use that as a subsidy if the vehicle is a state-created exchange. It's very, very clear, okay? And it's not just a scrivener's error. It doesn't appear one time. It appears throughout the Affordable Care Act. And if you look at the legislative history of the Affordable Care Act, it's very clear that the drafters of that particular legislation wanted that particular process of levy and subsidy to only take place through state-created exchanges. And so it's critically important that we adopt as the policy of this state that we're not going to create a state exchange. Now, right now we have a governor and Governor Haley that has said that she is not going to do it. She's not going to take steps in that regard. But I think it's so critically important because of the way that Affordable Care Act is drafted and because I want to protect our citizens from fines and penalties and taxes being levied against them for not complying with a mandate. And of course, that assumes at some point in time the president will stop continuing when the deadline for those mandates are. I'm assuming that's going to be the case. But it's critically important that we adopt the amendment to go ahead and say we're not going to create a state exchange in South Carolina for that particular reason.